Ever notice how some people meditate daily but seem more stressed than ever? There's actually a reason for this. Your Kundalini energy, the powerful force that is meant to lift your consciousness, can actually reverse direction. And when it does, every spiritual practice you do makes things worse, not better. I've seen this happen to countless people. They're doing breath work, chakra healing, hours of meditation, yet they feel emotionally numb, physically drained, and spiritually stuck. Some even develop what feels like chronic anxiety or depression. Here's what's really happening. Think of Kundalini like water in a river. When it flows naturally upstream towards your crown, you feel alive, connected, purposeful. But trauma, forcing practices too early, or suppressing emotions can flip this current backward. Now that same energy is flowing down, pooling in your lower centers, creating stagnation. The signs are everywhere once you know them. Mood swings after meditation, feeling worse after energy work, that heavy, dense feeling that won't lift, no matter what you try. But here's the thing, recognizing this reversal is actually your breakthrough moment. Once you understand how to redirect this energy correctly, you don't just feel normal again. You experience levels of awareness most people never reach. If this feels like you, like and subscribe for more insights that can transform your spiritual journey. What is Kundalini reversal? A woman in Japan meditated for 12 years straight, every single day. Then one morning she woke up and couldn't remember her own name. The doctors found nothing wrong, but I knew exactly what happened to her. Listen, what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. Because right now, as you're listening to this, your body is running a program that most people never discover. And if this program is running backward, it explains everything that's been going wrong in your life. You know how some days you feel amazing for no reason? Like you could conquer the world? And other days, you feel heavy and tired, even though nothing bad happened? That's not random. That's your energy moving in different directions. Inside your spine right now is a river of electricity. Ancient people called it Kundalini. But think of it like the main power line in your house. When this electricity flows up toward your head, you feel alive, creative, happy. You see solutions everywhere. People are drawn to you. Life feels magical. But when this same electricity flows down toward your feet, everything flips. You feel stuck, confused, heavy. Simple problems feel impossible. You push people away without meaning to. Even good things feel exhausting. Here's the crazy part. Most spiritual practices actually make this worse if your energy is flowing backward. It's like trying to fix a broken faucet by turning the water on harder. The more pressure you add, the bigger the flood becomes. I discovered this after working with over 3,000 people who were doing everything right but feeling terrible. They meditated daily, went to yoga, read spiritual books, attended workshops. But they felt more anxious than before they started. Some couldn't sleep. Others felt emotionally dead inside. A few even thought they were losing their minds. Every single one had the same problem. Their inner electricity was flowing the wrong way. Think about your phone charger. If you plug it in upside down, it doesn't just fail to charge. It can actually damage the battery. That's exactly what happens when you do spiritual practices with backward flowing energy. You're not just wasting time, you're making things worse. But here's what amazed me most. When I studied ancient texts from Tibet, India, and even old Christian monasteries, they all talked about this same problem. They had different names for it, but they all knew that spiritual energy could flow backward and trap people in darkness instead of lifting them into light. The Tibetan monks were the most detailed. They mapped out exactly what happens when life force energy gets stuck flowing downward. They called it the hungry ghost path, because people become spiritually hungry, but can never feel satisfied, no matter what practices they do. The signs are so clear once you know them. Do you feel worse after meditating? Does yoga make you angry instead of peaceful? Do you get headaches when you try to open your chakras? Have you been on a spiritual path for years but feel more lost than when you started? If yes, your energy is flowing backward. And every teacher telling you to try harder or meditate longer is actually pushing you deeper into the trap. But here's the miracle I discovered. The same energy that's been pulling you down is the exact same energy that can shoot you into higher consciousness. It's not broken. It's just pointing the wrong way. When you learn to flip this energy flow, something incredible happens. All those years of spiritual practices you thought were wasted suddenly kick in all at once. It's like you've been filling up a rocket with fuel for years, and now you finally learn how to light it. I've watched people redirect their energy flow in just days and immediately access states of peace they'd been chasing for decades. Because the power was always there, it was just flowing upside down. Your energy system is like a river. Right now, you might be swimming against the current, exhausting yourself trying to go upstream. But what if I told you that with one simple shift, you could turn around and let that same powerful current carry you exactly where you want to go? The energy that's been your biggest obstacle is about to become your greatest gift. You just need to know which way to point it. The 5 warning signs your spiritual energy has flipped backward. Last week, a man called me crying. He just spent $15,000 on a spiritual retreat in Peru. He drank ayahuasca, did breathwork with shamans, and had what he thought was the most powerful awakening of his life. But 3 days later, he couldn't get out of bed. He felt like his soul had been ripped out of his body. This is exactly what happens when your energy system flips backward after a spiritual high. And if you've ever felt amazing during a workshop only to crash harder than before, you need to hear this. Your body is constantly sending you signals about which direction your energy is flowing. But most people miss these signs because they sound like regular life problems. They're not. They're emergency flares from your energy system screaming that something is running backward. Here's how to tell if your spiritual energy has reversed. And trust me, once you see these patterns, you'll never miss them again. Sign number 1, your spiritual fire just died. Remember when you first discovered meditation or yoga? You couldn't wait to practice. You read every book, watched every video, felt excited about your growth. Now, the thought of meditating feels heavy. Your spiritual books collect dust. You still believe in the path, but the passion is gone. This isn't spiritual laziness. This is your energy system telling you that continuing these practices in your current state will make things worse, not better. It's like your inner wisdom is protecting you from feeding more energy into a backward flowing system. Sign number 2, your ego came back stronger than ever. You had a breakthrough. You felt connected to everything. You experienced oneness, peace, maybe even bliss. You thought you'd finally transcended your old patterns. Then boom. Your ego returned with a vengeance. Worse than before. More judgmental, more fearful, more reactive. Here's what really happened. That spiritual, high-pushed energy up temporarily, but without proper foundation, it crashed back down and got stuck in your lower centers. Now all that powerful energy is feeding your survival instincts instead of your higher consciousness. Sign number 3. You feel like you're living in thick fog. Your brain feels cloudy. Simple decisions feel impossible. You can't focus on anything for more than a few minutes. You feel exhausted even after sleeping 10 hours. It's like someone wrapped your entire being in heavy blankets. This is what happens when life force energy pools in your lower chakras instead of flowing up to energize your mind. Your brain literally isn't getting the energy it needs to function clearly because that energy is stuck down in survival mode. Sign number 4, anxiety became your unwelcome roommate. Maybe you never had anxiety before your spiritual journey. Or maybe you did, but it got worse after you started practicing. Now you worry about everything. Your mind creates worst-case scenarios. You might even develop weird paranoia or compulsive behaviors that make no sense. When Kundalini energy flows backward, it supercharges your fight or flight system. Instead of that energy lifting you into peaceful awareness, it's constantly telling your nervous system that danger's everywhere. You're running on spiritual rocket fuel, but it's pointed toward fear instead of love. Sign number 5. Your body becomes a battlefield. Pressure in your head that won't go away. Heat building up in your belly or pelvis that feels uncomfortable. Sexual energy that feels overwhelming and out of control instead of natural and flowing. Some people get sharp pains along their spine or feel like electricity is getting trapped in their body. This is energy trying to move up, but hitting blockages and reversing back down. It's like water hitting a dam and creating dangerous pressure behind it. Your body is literally telling you that the energy flow is all wrong. Here's what blew my mind when I first understood this. These aren't 5 separate problems. They're all the same problem showing up in different ways. It's all backward flowing energy expressing itself through different parts of your being. The amazing part? Once you recognize these signs, you're already halfway to fixing the problem, because your body has been trying to tell you exactly what's wrong this whole time. You just needed to learn its language. Most people spend years treating these symptoms separately. They go to therapy for anxiety, take supplements for brain fog, force themselves to meditate for spiritual dryness. The 4 hidden reasons. Your spiritual energy flips backward. A Navy SEAL once told me something that changed how I understand spiritual awakening forever. He said, "You never rise to the level of your expectations. You fall to the level of your training." This is exactly why your Kundalini energy reverses. It has nothing to do with how spiritual you are or how hard you try. It's about whether your inner system was actually prepared for the power you're trying to handle. Imagine trying to pour the entire ocean through a garden hose. What happens? The hose explodes. That's your nervous system when spiritual energy hits a body that isn't ready for it. Let me show you the 4 real reasons why your energy flips backward, and why understanding this will save you years of confusion. Reason 1. Your nervous system is still running on survival mode. Most people start spiritual practices while their nervous system is completely fried. They're stressed from work, dealing with relationship problems, maybe drinking coffee all day and scrolling social media before bed. Then they wonder why meditation makes them anxious. Here's what happens. Your nervous system is like a highway. When you're stressed, that highway is already packed with traffic. Now you're trying to send spiritual energy up that same crowded road. Instead of flowing smoothly, the energy hits all that mental chaos and bounces right back down. It's like trying to drive a Ferrari through a traffic jam. The car isn't broken, the road just isn't clear enough to handle that level of power. Reason 2, your energy centers are blocked with old junk. Think of your chakras like pipes in your house. Over the years, they collect emotional residue, limiting beliefs, and energetic debris from past experiences. Most people never clean these pipes. They just keep trying to push more energy through them. When powerful Kundalini energy hits a blocked chakra, it's like water hitting a clogged drain. It doesn't just stop. It backs up and flows in the opposite direction. The stronger the energy, the harder it bounces back. I've seen people spend thousands on energy healings, but never address the basic emotional blocks that created the reversal in the first place. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in the bottom. Reason 3, your past trauma is still running the show. This is the big one most teachers ignore. Trauma doesn't just create emotional problems, it creates energetic problems. When you experience trauma, your body literally learns to shut down energy flow to protect itself. Now you start doing breathwork or Kundalini yoga, and you're asking that same traumatized system to suddenly open and let energy flow freely. What do you think happens? Your body says absolutely not and reverses the energy to keep you safe. It's like asking someone who's been in car accidents to suddenly love driving on the highway. The trauma response kicks in and does everything possible to avoid what it sees as danger, even if that danger is actually your spiritual growth. Reason 4, your ego is having a panic attack. Here's what nobody talks about. When spiritual energy starts rising, your ego doesn't just quietly step aside, it fights for its life. Because from the ego's perspective, spiritual awakening literally means death. So what does a panicked ego do? It grabs onto everything it can. Old patterns, familiar problems, comfortable suffering. It would rather keep you miserable and small than risk losing control to your higher self. When this happens, your psyche becomes like a house divided against itself. Part of you wants to transcend, but part of you is terrified to let go. This internal war creates so much resistance that the spiritual energy can't flow up smoothly. Instead, it gets caught in the conflict and reverses direction. Think of it like trying to launch a rocket while someone is pulling it back down to Earth. The rocket has enough power to fly, but the resistance forces it to crash instead. Here's what amazes me about all this. Your energy didn't reverse because you did something wrong. It reversed because your system is actually working perfectly. It's protecting you from going too high too fast without proper preparation. It's like a safety valve on a pressure cooker. When the pressure gets too intense, the valve releases to prevent an explosion. Your energy reversal is your inner wisdom saying, slow down, build a stronger foundation first. The people who understand this and work with it instead of fighting it, they're the ones who achieve stable, lasting awakening. Because they're not just forcing energy up an unprepared system. They're building a highway that can actually handle the traffic of higher consciousness. Why psychology proves your spiritual crisis is actually normal. Carl Jung once said something that will completely change how you see your spiritual struggles. He said most people who try to awaken their consciousness without proper foundation don't just fail to grow. They actually go backward faster than if they'd never started at all. This brilliant man spent his entire life studying what happens when people dive into spiritual practices without understanding their own minds first. And what he discovered will blow you away. You know that feeling when you have a powerful spiritual experience, maybe during meditation or a retreat, and for a moment you feel completely free? Then within days or weeks, you're more stuck in your old patterns than ever before? Jung called this enantiodromia, when something transforms into its complete opposite. But here's the part that amazes me. Jung wasn't just talking about spiritual theory, he was describing actual psychological mechanics that happen in your brain when you try to force growth without building the right foundation. Think about it like this. Your mind has spent years, maybe decades, creating comfortable patterns. These patterns might not make you happy, but they feel safe and familiar. Your ego has built an entire identity around them. Then suddenly, through spiritual practice, you're asking this same mind to completely let go of everything it knows. What do you think happens? Your psyche goes into full panic mode. Jung studied thousands of people going through what he called spiritual emergencies. He noticed the same pattern over and over. People would have breakthrough experiences that showed them higher possibilities. But instead of integrating these experiences gradually, they would crash back into their old habits with even more intensity than before. He realized this isn't spiritual failure. This is psychology 101. When you threaten the ego's sense of security too quickly, it doesn't surrender gracefully. It fights back by pulling you deeper into familiar patterns, even destructive ones, because familiar feels safer than unknown. This is exactly what happens in Kundalini reversal from a psychological perspective. That powerful spiritual energy doesn't just reverse randomly. Your unconscious mind actively reverses it as a defense mechanism against change that feels too threatening. Jung wrote about a patient who spent months in deep meditation and felt like he was touching enlightenment. But he hadn't done any work on his shadow, all the parts of himself he'd rejected and buried. When the spiritual energy started bringing up all that repressed material, his mind couldn't handle it. Within weeks, he was more depressed, angry, and self-destructive than he'd been in years. The spiritual energy didn't cause these problems. It revealed problems that were already there, but buried. And when someone isn't prepared to face their own darkness with compassion, the psyche will shut down the whole process by reversing the energy flow. Here's what Jung understood that most spiritual teachers miss. You can't bypass psychological work with spiritual practices. If you try to reach higher consciousness without integrating your shadow, healing your trauma, or understanding your ego patterns, your own mind will sabotage the process every time. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on quicksand. The higher you try to go, the more unstable everything becomes, until the whole structure collapses back down. But Jung also discovered something incredible. People who experience this reversal and learn to work with it psychologically often achieve deeper, more stable awakening than those who never faced this challenge. Because they were forced to build real psychological foundations instead of just chasing spiritual highs. The reversal becomes a gift because it shows you exactly which parts of your psyche need attention before you can safely handle higher states of consciousness. Your mind is literally giving you a roadmap of what needs to be healed first. Jung called this the treasure in the shadow. The very things your spiritual practice brings up that feel terrible, the anger, fear, shame, old patterns, these aren't obstacles to your awakening. They're the raw material for it. When you learn to embrace what's coming up, instead of trying to transcend it, something magical happens. Your spiritual energy stops fighting against your psychology and starts working with it. The reversal transforms into integration. This is why some people can meditate for decades and stay stuck, while others make breakthrough progress in months. It's not about how spiritual they are, it's about whether they're willing to do the psychological work that makes lasting transformation possible. Your spiritual crisis isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. According to Jung, it's a sign you're finally ready to do the real work. Drop a comment below. Have you noticed your old patterns coming back stronger after spiritual breakthroughs? Jung would say that's not failure. That's your psyche showing you exactly what needs healing first. The 4-step formula that flips your energy. Right side up again. A woman came to me after 3 years of feeling spiritually dead. She'd tried everything: energy healers, shamans, expensive retreats, even psychedelic therapy. Nothing worked. Then I gave her one simple instruction that changed everything in just 2 weeks. I told her to stop meditating and go hug a tree instead. She thought I was crazy. But that tree hugging became the key that unlocked her entire energy system and got her spiritual fire burning again. Here's why and how you can do the same thing. When your Kundalini energy reverses, trying to fix it with more spiritual practices is like trying to repair a broken leg by running faster. You're not healing the problem, you're making it worse. What you need is the complete opposite of what you think you need. Here are the 4 steps that actually work, and I promise they're simpler than anything you've tried before. Step 1. Get your energy back in your body. Right now, your energy is probably scattered all over the place. It's stuck in your head, caught in your emotions, or floating somewhere outside your body entirely. Before you can get it flowing upward again, you need to collect it all back into your physical form. This is why I told that woman to hug trees. Trees are masters of grounding energy. They pull scattered electricity back down into the earth and then send it back up through their roots in a perfect, stable flow. When you spend time touching trees, walking barefoot on grass, or even just sitting on the ground, you're learning from nature's perfect energy system. Forget fancy meditations. Go outside. Put your hands in dirt. Walk without shoes on. Lie on the grass and let the earth literally pull your scattered energy back into your body. Do this for just 15 minutes a day, and you'll feel more stable than months of complicated spiritual practices ever made you feel. Step 2. Make friends with your darkness. Here's what nobody wants to hear. All that anger, sadness, fear, and shame that comes up when you do spiritual work, that's not negative energy trying to block you. That's your own rejected emotions trying to come home. Your energy reversed because you've been trying to transcend your human feelings instead of embracing them. But you can't skip steps. You can't get to unconditional love without first loving your own conditional, messy, imperfect emotions. Start writing letters to your anger. Ask your sadness what it needs. Have conversations with the parts of you that feel scared or ashamed. This isn't therapy. This is energy work. Every emotion you welcome back home frees up more life force to flow naturally upward. I've watched people's chronic fatigue disappear when they finally stopped trying to be spiritual and started being human instead. Step 3. Build your foundation before you build your temple. Most people with reversed Kundalini are trying to open their heart or third eye while their root chakra is completely unstable. It's like trying to build the second floor of a house before you finish the foundation. For the next month, forget about all the fancy chakras. Focus only on your root, that energy center at the base of your spine that connects you to feeling safe, stable, and secure in your body. Simple practices work best. Stand barefoot and imagine roots growing from your feet into the earth. Eat grounding foods like root vegetables. Create routines that make you feel secure. Pay your bills on time. Clean your living space. These aren't spiritual practices, but they do more to stabilize your energy system than any crystal or mantra ever could. Step 4. Stop pushing and start receiving. This is the hardest step because it requires you to do the opposite of what every spiritual teacher has probably told you. Instead of trying to raise your energy, practice letting it settle. Instead of reaching for higher states, get comfortable being exactly where you are. Your energy system is like a snow globe that's been shaken up. The more you try to force the snow to settle, the more chaotic it becomes. But if you just hold the globe still and wait, everything naturally finds its perfect place. Stop doing so much. Stop trying so hard. Stop forcing your awakening. Your energy knows exactly how to flow correctly. It just needs space to recalibrate without you constantly interfering. That woman who hugged trees? Within 2 weeks of following these 4 steps, her spiritual passion came flooding back naturally. But this time it felt stable, sustainable, and real instead of forced and frantic. Your energy wants to flow upward. You just need to get out of its way and let it remember how. What's one grounding practice you're willing to try this week? Drop a comment and let me know. Your commitment might inspire someone else to start their healing journey. When your soul hits the brakes. Imagine you're driving down a highway at night, confident in your direction, when suddenly your GPS says, recalculating route. You feel frustrated, maybe even angry. But what if I told you that your soul has its own GPS system? And sometimes it forces you to take a U-turn not because you're lost, but because you're about to discover something extraordinary? Here's something nobody talks about in those feel-good spiritual circles. Going backward is actually a superpower. While everyone else is obsessed with moving forward, climbing higher, achieving more, you're being initiated into one of life's most sacred mysteries. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're being chosen for something deeper. Think about a river flowing towards the ocean. Sometimes it hits a massive boulder and has to flow around it, seemingly going backward. But that river isn't confused. It's finding the path of least resistance, carving new channels, creating something beautiful. That boulder? It's your reversal. And like that river, you're not stuck. You're carving your own unique path. What most people call failure, the awakened call preparation. Let me share something that will change how you see your current situation forever. In ancient spiritual traditions, There's a concept called the sacred pause. It's when the universe literally stops you in your tracks because you're about to level up in a way that would be impossible if you kept rushing forward. Your reversal isn't punishment. It's preparation for something so big that your current self couldn't handle it. Picture a caterpillar. Before it becomes a butterfly, it doesn't just grow wings and fly away. It has to completely dissolve. Every cell, every structure it knew as reality, liquefies into soup. From the outside, it looks like death. From the inside, it's the most profound transformation possible. Your reversal is your cocoon moment. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Every spiritual master in history went through this exact same process. Buddha sat under that tree for years, not moving forward in any conventional sense. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness going nowhere. Muhammad retreated to a cave. They all understood what you're learning right now. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop pushing and start dissolving. But here's where it gets really interesting. In quantum physics, they discovered something called quantum tunneling. Particles can actually pass through barriers that should be impossible to cross. How? By temporarily moving backward, building up energy, then shooting through the obstacle. Your soul is quantum tunneling right now. This reversal you're experiencing, it's not random, it's surgical. Every setback is untying a specific knot in your energy field. Every disappointment is clearing a blockage you didn't even know existed. Every closed door is redirecting you away from a path that would have kept you small. The universe isn't working against you. It's working this precisely because it's working for you. I want you to imagine your life as a movie. Right now, you think you're in a tragedy because things are going backward. But you're actually in the middle act of the greatest comeback story ever told. The hero always faces the darkest moment before the breakthrough. And you, my friend, are that hero. The mystics call this the second dark night because the first one was just practice. This time, you're not falling apart randomly. You're being strategically dismantled so that when you rebuild with wisdom, with power, with unshakable faith. The person you're becoming couldn't emerge from comfort. They could only be forged in the fire of seeming failure. So the next time someone asks you why you're not moving forward, smile and tell them you're doing something far more advanced. You're moving inward. You're moving deeper. You're mastering the sacred art of going backward so that when you finally move forward again, it won't be movement, it will be flight. Your reversal isn't your story ending. It's your real story finally beginning. The universe chose you for this experience because it saw something in you that even you can't see yet. Trust the process. Trust the pause. Trust the sacred reversal that's preparing you for a breakthrough so beautiful it will make every step backward worth it. You are not behind. You are exactly where your soul needs to be. Your energy reversal is your greatest spiritual gift. Here's the truth most spiritual teachers will never tell you. The people who experience Kundalini reversal and learn to work with it don't just recover. They become the most powerful healers, teachers, and awakened beings on the planet. Because you've been through the fire and came out stronger. You've faced the darkness and found the light. You know what real transformation feels like. Not just spiritual bypassing or fake highs. Your reversed energy wasn't your curse. It was your initiation. While others were floating in a spiritual fantasy, You were doing the real work, the shadow work, the grounding, the integration that creates lasting awakening. Every symptom you experienced was your inner wisdom guiding you toward wholeness. Every crashed spiritual high was your psyche saying, "Not yet. Build a stronger foundation first." Every moment you felt lost was actually you finding your way to something more authentic than you ever imagined possible. The spiritual seekers who never face this challenge, they often stay stuck in endless searching, chasing the next technique, the next teacher, the next breakthrough. But you've been given something precious, the opportunity to build unshakable spiritual stability. Your journey through the darkness has prepared you for a light so bright, so stable, so real, that nothing can ever dim it again. You didn't break. You became unbreakable. If this video helped you understand your spiritual journey in a new way, smash that like button and subscribe for more insights that can transform your path. Your awakening story is just beginning.